Welcome to our exploration of the 5 most valuable lessons drawn from Nassim Nicholas Taleb's book, Fooled by Randomness. In this work, Taleb unravels the hidden influence of chance in our lives, and how our inability to understand randomness and uncertainty shapes our perceptions, decisions, and ultimately our success. Throughout this video, we will discover how we can adjust our thinking to better navigate a world full of unknowns. Before we dive into these lessons, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any content that helps you see the world from a more critical and informed perspective. Now get ready to open your mind and challenge your intuition with the teachings of Fooled by Randomness. Lesson number 5: Luck disguised as skill. Let's start with a fundamental question. How can we know if a successful outcome is due to skill or simply luck? Taleb invites us to consider the world of finance, where traders and investors are often celebrated for their winning strategies. But are they really skilled or just lucky? Lesson number 5 teaches us that luck can be disguised as skill, especially in fields where the outcome is highly uncertain. In the stock market, for example, an investor may achieve extraordinary returns in a given year, but this does not necessarily reflect their skill. It could be the result of random and external factors that are beyond their control. Taleb argues that we tend to underestimate the role of randomness and overestimate our ability to control outcomes. This leads us to mistakenly attribute success to personal skill, when in reality, it could have been a stroke of luck. True skill, according to Taleb, is demonstrated through consistency over time and under different circumstances, not by a single favorable outcome. It is crucial then that when evaluating success and failure, we consider the possibility that luck may have played a significant role. This not only gives us a more realistic perspective, but also protects us from making decisions based on illusions. By recognizing the influence of randomness, we can develop more robust strategies that do not rely on fortune to succeed. In summary, lesson number 5, from Fooled by Randomness, warns us about the human tendency to confuse luck with skill. By being aware of this distinction, we can approach success and failure with a more critical mindset and be less prone to being deceived by randomness. Let's remember that in the dance between luck and skill, it is not always the most talented who leads, but sometimes the luckiest. Lesson number 4: the problem of silent induction. This concept is a warning about the trap of complacency and false security. Often, we fall into the mistake of believing that the future will behave like the past, especially regarding unusual or improbable events, those that Nassim Taleb calls black swans. Silent induction is the mental process by which we assume that what has happened in the past will continue to happen in the future. It is a cognitive bias that leads us to underestimate the possibility of random events and to overestimate our abilities to predict and control the world around us. Taleb warns us that the world is full of uncertainty and that rare events, though improbable, can and do occur. These events have a disproportionate impact and can change the course of our lives or businesses in an instant. History is full of examples, from economic crises to natural disasters, that have taken by surprise those who blindly trusted in the continuity of the past. The book urges us to recognize the limitation of our knowledge and to be prepared for the unexpected. We should not fall into the complacency of silent induction, but rather adopt a stance of humility and caution. By doing so, we can better protect ourselves against the whims of chance and be more open to the opportunities that black swans may present. In summary, lesson number 4 teaches us to question our assumptions and not to be fooled by the apparent stability of the past. It is a call to always be alert and to recognize that in a world governed by randomness, the only certainty is uncertainty itself. Lesson number 3: the narrative fallacy. In our quest to make sense of the world around us, we often fall into the trap of the narrative fallacy. This is the human tendency to interpret events through the construction of coherent and compelling stories, which seem to logically explain what happens around us. However, these narratives can lead us astray, especially when we ignore the fundamental role that chance plays in our lives. Nassim Nicholas Taleb, in his work Fooled by Randomness, warns us about this dangerous cognitive bias. He shows us how, instead of accepting uncertainty and the random element of events, we tend to forge narratives that fit with our limited understanding of the world. These stories provide us with a false sense of understanding and control, but often divert us from the truth. For example, in the realm of business and finance, it is common to attribute the success of an entrepreneur or investor to their skill and strategy, when in reality, it could simply be the result of luck. The narrative fallacy leads us to ignore the possibility that success could be temporary, or the product of random factors, and instead, we create a story of talent and foresight that may not be real. Taleb urges us to be skeptical of simplistic explanations and to recognize that the complexity of the world often exceeds our capacity for understanding. The narrative fallacy makes us vulnerable to overinterpretation and superstition, and can lead us to make decisions based on illusions rather than evidence. In summary, lesson number 3 from Fooled by Randomness is a call to intellectual humility. It reminds us that we must be aware of our propensity to tell stories and be willing to accept that sometimes chance is the real protagonist behind the events of our lives. Recognizing the narrative fallacy is the first step to avoid being fooled by randomness and to approach a more accurate understanding of reality. Lesson number 2. The role of probability in decision-making. In a world where uncertainty reigns and chance plays a crucial role in the outcomes of our actions, it is essential to understand probability to make informed decisions. Taleb warns us about the trap of relying too much on our intuition or on simplistic heuristics, which are often plagued with biases and errors in judgment. Probability is not simply a mathematical concept, but a fundamental tool for assessing risks and benefits in uncertain situations. In Fooled by Randomness, we are reminded that random events can have a significant impact on our lives, and that we often underestimate their influence due to our tendency to look for patterns and coherent narratives where there are none. Taleb urges us to adopt probabilistic thinking, which means recognizing that there is a range of possible outcomes in every situation, and that some of these outcomes are more likely than others. By doing so, we can move away from the illusion of certainty and embrace variability, better preparing ourselves for the unexpected twists of fate. The lesson is clear. Instead of judging decisions solely by their outcomes, we should evaluate the quality of these decisions based on the logic and probabilistic reasoning that support them. By doing so, we can improve our ability to navigate a world full of uncertainties and minimize the negative impact of chance in our lives. So the next time you face an important decision, remember lesson number 2, consider the probabilities, assess the risks, and don't be fooled by randomness. Lesson number 1. The importance of robustness and antifragility. In a world where chance and uncertainty are the only constant companions, it is crucial to build systems and make decisions that not only withstand these unpredictable forces, but also benefit from them. Robustness refers to the ability of a system to maintain its functioning in the face of external disturbances. It's like an oak that stands firm in the storm. But what if we could go beyond merely resisting? This is where antifragility comes into play, an even more powerful concept. Antifragility goes a step beyond robustness. It's not just about surviving the blows of fate, but thriving because of them. An antifragile system adapts, improves, and strengthens with the disorder and surprises that life throws at you. It's like the mythical Hydra, which grew 2 heads for each one it lost. In our lives, in our careers, and in our investments, seeking antifragility means creating strategies that benefit from volatility. It means loving the uncertain and embracing error, not from resignation, but from the opportunity for learning and growth. By applying the lesson of antifragility, we become more adaptable, resilient, and creative. We learn to make chaos our ally, and to find in disorder the seeds of future order. So, as we navigate through life, Let's remember that what does not kill us can actually make us stronger, wiser, and better prepared for the challenges to come. This is lesson number 1. From Fooled by Randomness, embracing robustness and aspiring to antifragility is the key to succeeding in a world ruled by chance. In our exploration of Fooled by Randomness, we have uncovered 5 essential lessons that teach us to navigate a world where chance plays a crucial role. First, we learn to recognize luck disguised as skill and not to overestimate our control over events. Then we saw the importance of considering what does not happen, the silent role of probability in our lives. The third lesson showed us how noise can be mistaken for meaningful signals, leading us to make incorrect decisions. Fourth, we understood that survival is not an indicator of quality and that we must look beyond the visible winners. Lastly, we learned to embrace uncertainty and to be cautious with predictions, accepting that the future is inherently unpredictable. By applying these lessons in our daily lives, we can improve our understanding of chance and make more informed and resilient decisions, reducing the impact of random deception on our judgment and well-being. Don't forget to subscribe for more valuable insights like these, and to continue strengthening our ability to discern between what we can control